All right, good morning, traders, and happy Friday. Hopefully, everybody can hear me okay and see my screen. Gonna wait just a few seconds here to start, let a few people pile in, and we'll go from there. But happy Friday, everybody. Jordan, good morning. Good to see everybody. So let's get right to work here, guys. Again, happy Friday. Excited to share my thoughts every Friday, per usual, right here on the YouTube channel. So make sure you guys subscribe if you like what I'm about to share. So let's dig into it and talk about the overall market, because that's really the biggest thing to talk about right now. And I'm going to keep it very, very simple but effective. We've been grinding up very, very strong these past few days. Truly haven't stopped running for almost 2 weeks straight. Well, anytime that we make these drastic runs, we usually get to a tool that I like to use called the Keltner channels, which measure about an ATR away from the daily mean, which is the 21-day exponential moving average. You can see these orange lines are 1 and 2 ATR, 1 ATR above and below. The blue line is 2 above and below, and then vice versa, we have 3 ATRs away from the mean, above and below. Anytime, guys, whether it's to the downside, if we reach typically 2-3 ATR, we work our way right back. Same crap on the upside, where if we reach that 2-3 ATR, we work our way back for a healthy pullback. So recently, starting this week, leading into this week, we did nothing but rally, 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 all the way up into that daily, that 2-3 ATR Keltner, pretty much where we need to take a break, to keep it simple here. Well, yesterday we got that pullback pretty much exactly to where we wanted to see it, which is back to that 21-day exponential moving average. This truly is referred to as the mean because it kind of just resets price. We travel too high, we get a nice pullback, and we can get right back to work. So for ES here, fairly simple today. Got the drop yesterday, and then it's starting to pop today. It's really going to matter, more importantly, what happens on the other indexes. So we're going to jump right into that. But very simply here, as long as ES continues to hold above this daily mean, which is currently 42.76, we're bullish. And if we can get up and break all-time high, the show obviously goes on. But more importantly here, guys, one big thing to distinguish this week is what's called rotation, where when the market's dropping down here, we always want to look at the other indexes to get a sense of what's happening. So if we actually take a look this morning, right now we have ES up about 0.5%, YM, the Dow Jones futures, up about 0.75%, while NQ is only up about 0.15%. So this, guys, is called rotation. And if you've been following the market, tech, aka NQ, has been leading the way. However, to really show this story, just like ES, just like any stock, whenever we reach that 3-2 ATR, it's time to get a pullback. So tech is starting their pullback and could benefit from continuing to pull back. And if they do this, I expect YM, the one who's been kind of bruised and battered, to start to pop off of the mean here. So NQ's way up here and it's making its pullback. YM could pop off of here. And at the same time, that's kind of going to just keep ES afloat. So that's really the biggest thing that we want to watch for today, guys. Right now, we are seeing that YM rotation continue to lead. So if it continues to lead, it's going to push ES higher. And we just want to pay attention if NQ, continues to pull back, if they just go sideways, or does this eventually drag the market? So really pay attention, guys, to a few things here. One is we want to recognize rotation. So if ES is going higher, we want to make sure that, YM is doing its part in going higher. Vice versa, if we see ES start to slow down, YM start to slow down, and NQ slow down, that's when we have our sign of true selling rather than rotation. And from there, we can expect everything to pull back. But right now, they're just doing the old healthy rotation where they run into tech, they start to sell tech off while they buy the lagger who's just sitting at the mean, ready to launch off and start its journey up towards the highs. So I hope that makes sense, guys. With it being Friday, we don't have really any economic data or anything to move this market. So just be patient, be methodical, and make sure you really watch the 3 indexes to try to get a sense of rotation. I hope that helps. So let's lay out, guys, a few setups that I'll be watching today, and we'll go from there. First is going to be Nvidia. So personally, if we just take a look at Nvidia here on a daily chart, they're a name that, by far, much like the market, needs a damn pullback. They've been rallying, kind of defying odds here, grinding this 2 and 3 ATR until yesterday it finally started to fall off a cliff. One indicator I like to use, guys, rather than a name dropping down towards this daily mean, this white line, is I like to use what's called the Ichimoku cloud. And one of my favorite time frames to use this on is a 4-hour chart where we rally, and sometimes the pullback on a really strong stock won't always be fully down to the mean, but it can drop right down towards this cloud, which is exactly what we're getting right now. So take a look at Nvidia, guys. Yesterday kind of, gapped down with the overall market right at that cloud and held, but couldn't really get going. So this is one that's still just kind of intact for today. So I really, really like this one, where there's 2 case scenarios here. If it does start to go sideways, leave it alone. It's going to do what it did yesterday. But if it can continue to hold above this 4-hour cloud, above yesterday's LOD, so, looking at this 796 level, if it can hang above there, that's hanging above this cloud. And if it can break yesterday's HOD, it can fill the gap back to 815, which is also another level that I use called point of control, which very simply is just a very strong price action magnet, where if we're away from it, we have a really good chance of going back towards it. Nvidia has an ATR, an average true range, of about $20, meaning they can move on any given day up or down about 20 bucks. So if we go from prior close, my target for today is about 19, 20 points away. So kind of fitting the realistic pattern that Nvidia takes almost every day. And then vice versa, guys, to have no bias. If this does start to break down and we do see technology be that lagger, they're going to sell Nvidia. And at that point, if we do break into this cloud again and through low of day, I like a short back down to this 776 and also back down towards that daily mean, which would also put us near that 4-hour cloud bottom. As you can see, guys, from close, the top of the zone is pretty much 20-point ATR. So that's where I'll personally be looking to get Nvidia shorted towards. The mean is below. Do we see it? I don't know. That would be pretty ugly. First things first. So for Nvidia, guys, watch this 4-hour cloud. We can also watch a little intraday 30-minute squeeze starting to form with bullish momentum. And it's actually, guys, having a pretty good pre-market where NQ is kind of just flat here. And even when it was red this morning, Nvidia is showing signs of gapping up green. So right now they're doing some buying. If we take a look at the tape currently, we have some really nice bids just continuing to hold all morning right around this, 801.5, 802 level. So the bulls are potentially here to play. It could all fail at open, but as long as it holds, as long as it's in this squeeze, if it can fill this gap, I think it's a really, really clean trade, especially for a Friday. So for Nvidia, guys, I'll be watching this week's expire, so today's expire, 810 calls, and also the 815 calls. Those are personally my favorite strikes. And then to the downside, I will be watching the 785 calls and also the 780 calls. 785 puts and the 780 puts. So really ready for either direction. If it fails here, it starts to work its way down, it could break down. If it just continues to hold and explode, I think we have a really good shot at 815 today. So be patient, but definitely keep an eye on Nvidia. I love this one. Next setup, guys, is Google. So not really a top setup here. They're facing some antitrust news, all that typical crap Google's used to. But this is just a basic one that I want to pay attention for a gap fill. It's kind of like Nvidia, where the gap fill is also that point of control level. So if Google could just hold 2,500 today, which if we take a look at the current tape, we have bids already at 2,503. So they're currently, as of now, going to keep us up and actually open a little bit green. So patience on this one, guys. Not fully sold on it being an A+ setup, but if it can get back through this 2,511 from yesterday and continue to hold 2,500, We also have a shot at filling this gap right back to that 25.23, which is also that point of control level. So expected to be potentially a really nice magnet for price action. Google has about a 33-point ATR, so this target's only about 20 points away. So not asking it to do anything unrealistic, anything crazy, just make an average, typical move back to point of control and fill that beautiful gap. So Google, guys, if it goes below 2,500, I'd be very patient on this trade. But if it continues to hold 2,500, that's when I would start to look for the signs of going long and looking for that push to 25.23. For Google, going to watch two strikes here today, both going to be today's expire, but I will be watching the 25.20 calls to get us towards the top of that zone, and then also the 25.30 calls, just to have another option here in regards to playing Google. But I hope that helps, guys. Pretty simple setup here. You know, they almost reverted to the mean. Right, not quite. So they could drop a little bit more today, but if they do hold that 2,500, I think it's going to go fill that gap. So might not be a nice play at all, but it is something to watch in my opinion. And the next setup here, guys, is Roku. This is one of the few tech setups that's actually taken a bit of a pullback, you know, before the market actually pulled back. Roku did its huge explosion. As you might assume, Roku hit those 3 ATR Keltner channels, signaling it's time for a pullback right back to that beautiful little mean. So yesterday, guys, we got the gap down to the mean and quickly just saw accumulation right at it, just like it typically should. We rally off the mean, we get too extended, we drop right back to the mean, just to start the journey all over again. So continuing here, guys, with a theme of point of control, just a level that I love to use, highlighted in blue here. As long as Roku can hold 420 today and break 430, I really like a shot up towards that point of control at 438. So again, if you're not familiar with this indicator, this is an indicator that tracks where the most amount of volume is done for the current month. So right now, starting July, the control on the stock is at 438. So most of the time, guys, when we're below it, we rip right back to point of control. And then we can get ripped right off of it. And then if we get too far away, we work our way all the way back potentially. So keep an eye on this 438. Mark that one on your chart. And as long as Roku holds 420, they got a shot at 438. It is a bit of tough upside, so be patient on this one. It is coming off of the mean. Might go sideways for a little bit. But with an ATR of about 18 points, it's about 18 points away. Not asking it to do anything crazy. If you take a look right now, guys, they're also one of the few names that will be gapping up for technology. You know, we have names like Apple that are kind of, you know, opening flat, names like Facebook that are, you know, opening negative. And then the names that I've laid out, like Nvidia, they're going to open green, kind of showing us strength. You know, Google going to open kind of flat here. But Roku, another one that's currently set to gap up a little bit. Look at the bids. Right now, current bids at 422. So this is real. They're holding it up here. As long as it holds 420, we got a shot at 430 through there, 438. And for strikes, guys, I'll be watching today's 425 calls, today's 430 calls, and also the 435 calls. But really got to dial in on the 430 calls. That's my favorite strike today. And then a few more setups here, guys. One being Amazon. You know, absolute beast mode yesterday was one of the names that gapped down with technology and then just absolutely exploded. They filled the gap and they actually made a new all-time high, truly just showing insane signs of strength. Before I hopped on this live, you know, Amazon was one of those names that was set to gap down a little bit. This is why we always want to watch pre-market, start to get a sense of what's happening here. So Amazon bulls are quickly taking over. We can see NQ starting to work its way green. Amazon could be one that continues to go today. Just by far was one of the strongest names yesterday with the market. If we take a look at bids currently, holding at about, you know, 37.38. So they are gonna, you know, gap us up a little bit. We close at 37.31 as long as these remain, and they're still stepping up 37.40. So for Amazon here, guys, I wouldn't make it your top focus. It is a very strong name, but it's one of those names that's just potentially have to defy odds or potentially is going to trap a lot of people. Because again, guys, don't fight history. We hit 3 ATR, we fail. We hit 3 ATR, we fail. 3 ATR, fail. Almost 3 ATR, fail. 3 ATR, fail. 3 ATR last week, and we failed. And now we're at 3 ATR again. So just be very cautious, guys. I'm not saying this can't go higher, but you want to make sure that you stack edge and probability in your favor. Meaning, if this doesn't go higher today, they're going to destroy the options. And so you want to be very careful on a Friday, depending what you pay. Don't risk a lot of money in this one. I would size down. I would have fun. Amazon's a name where you can put a smaller amount of money into, and you can see a really good return. But again, at these levels, guys, it's kind of the place where you just want to take a chill pill and not get too aggressive. So it is on my radar today. I think, honestly, it could break. Let me just get my drawing set back on. It could break that hot and see 3,800. But just be very careful, guys, of chasing this stock or, overpaying on an option. It's way too extended. It's ran really hard. These options are going to be inflated. They could very quickly go to zero today. So keep that in mind. But could also complete the mission to 3,800. ATR about 69 points. So that's literally about 69 points from close. That's all I'm expecting here on Amazon today. Would be a push towards 3,800. And for strikes, guys, going to keep it simple. Going to watch today's expire, the 3,800s, and also the 3,850s, just because Amazon can be a bit expensive. But remember what I just said. We don't want to overpay. We don't want to buy expensive strikes. We want to play something today, if you do like Amazon, that you're okay going to zero. So don't buy, just for example, one contract at 10 if you're not okay losing $1,000. Buy a contract at 2. Put a few $100 in this, see if it can explode to a few thousand, or it's going to go to zero. So not my top focus, just given where it is, but it is a name that could offer some opportunity. And then one final name, guys, which I don't know if I will trade, but I do want to watch this, and it's actually stamp.com, believe it or not. And holy crap. So Stamp this morning, guys, they got bought out. Stamp.com to be bought out by Thoma Bravo, if I'm saying that right, for a $6.6 billion cash deal. And I believe their stockholders will receive $333 per share. So as you might imagine, guys, this stock closed at 200 and is going to rip to the price that they're going to sell it at. So unreal gap up here. What is this gap up percent-wise? Closed at 197, gapping up about 64% on the equity. Absolutely insane. If you take a look at the tape right now, guys, they are just buying the crap out of this thing. So again, it's being bought out. I don't know how many days left of trading this thing has. However, it's a massive gap up. Does it explode even more? I don't know. I don't even know if it'll be tradable at this point. But I did mark up some levels, and it went from here all the way to 325. Look at a weekly chart. I believe that might be all-time high. Yeah, it is. Wow. So yeah, guys, Stamps carving a new HOD. Big news here. Is it tradable? I don't know. Anything, I've never really tried to trade a name that gaps up 65%. But it's worth having on the radar just for fun. So not really much to say here, guys, other than that. Wanted to cover the news here. And if for some reason you happen to be holding Stamps, congratulations, your life's just been changed. But I doubt anybody was holding the stock for no reason. But regardless, wow. So thank you guys for listening. I hope you found value in this video and in this prep. Again, really want to be patient today and watch rotation. If ES starts to fizzle out, see if, NQ pops, or do we just kind of sell off everything? Vice versa, if NQ drops and we see YM pop, that's going to keep a little old ES afloat. Top focuses team, going to be watching Nvidia, can fill that gap or can work their way down to 780-ish. Google as well can either just chop or fill that gap to 25.23. Roku, if they hold 420, break 430, can head to 438, get back to point of control, and then can also keep an eye on good old Amazon. Break hard, 3,800 shall come. Then again, guys, just keep an eye on Stamp. I wouldn't really look to trade it, but it could be some good fun to watch. So if it's a chop fest, go check out Stamp. But thank you guys for watching and listening. I really appreciate it. If you like these videos, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe because I will be doing them every week. We also have a ton of more other content on the page. So thanks again, guys. Happy Friday. Go close the week out strong, get a little bit better, and I'll talk to you in the next video.